which, Tim, you have as your specialty card to this day.
That's 1 year after the Edsel, wasn't it?
1959, and here the 43-year-old Roger Clemens is finished. We'll get word on exactly why. You would have to believe it's injury related, and Wandy Rodriguez takes over, a 26-year-old left-hander who this season for the Astros was a 10-game winner in 22 starts. Two, 3, and 4 hitters for the White Sox. Iguchi is jammed. Tough play. Biggio. Good pickup by Lamb. 1 out. Tough on both ends, and Biggio is nodding in the direction of Lamb on that 4-3 putout. That was not easy.
Yeah, Biggio was back on his heels, understandably, and charged it late. But on the short hop, Lamb makes a nice play. Very nicely done by Biggio and Lamb.
So 1 away, and the batter is Jermaine Dye, who homered back in the first. First home run of this postseason, takes high ball 1. Dye broke his leg in the 2001 playoffs, and you wondered if he would ever make it back. Now, during the regular season, he hit 31 home runs, which is the most he had hit since the year 2000. He's up on the count here, 2-0. The word on Roger Clemens is he had to exit because of soreness in that same left hamstring that's bothered him. His status is day to day, and you asked a question of Phil Garner before the game. You wonder, and you have to believe there's some relationship between a bad lower back and a hamstring injury.
Yeah, it's all connected, and Phil agreed with that. And Roger going down those steps, you could clearly see him limping on that left hamstring, and it is probably being iced as we speak.
3 balls and a strike on Dye. Wandy Rodriguez, as I mentioned, 26, from the Dominican. 2 different stops in the minor leagues this year before ending up in Houston, and here is a pitch down and away for a 1-out walk.
Just to remind everyone who is listening, you cannot make, if Roger Clemens goes down with a bad hamstring, you cannot replace him with another pitcher during the World Series. Bill Garner asking if Rodriguez can blow on his hands. He just came into the game and may not know that. That is certainly something to keep in mind. If Roger Clemens is injured badly enough, then the Astros cannot replace him with anyone.
It's worth pointing out, and going back to that Monday, October 10th game, Game 5 out in Anaheim. As you look at Roger Clemens, his first 23 starts, and then what he's done over his last 12. He's out. Wandy Rodriguez is in. Think back to Bartolo Colon leaving in the 2nd inning, and the Angels having to hand the ball to young Irvin Santana, a 22-year-old right-hander, who because of his pitching got the Angels past the Yankees and into the ALCS. Now in this game, all the hype with a matchup of Contreras and Roger Clemens, the Rocket, 7-time Cy Young Award winner. He's gone after 2, and now the focus is on Wandy Rodriguez. 1 on, 1 out. Canerco tried to check his swing. He does. Ball and a strike.
Breaking ball, and he did hold up. Rodriguez is an atypical National League pitcher in that in the National League you have harder throwers, I think, for the most part. Rodriguez is not a hard thrower, but that's his best pitch, and he's shown it in this inning. Fine play by Ausmus to block that curveball.
And there's Ausmus showing what he does best.
Right. Nicely done.
So the count 2-1 on Canerco. The Astros just tied it in the top of this 3rd. Seen Clemens exit, and they've handed the ball to a rookie. Canerco. Good pitch from Rodriguez, 2-2.
Backdoor breaking ball.
Went from a right-hander, 6'4", 235, to a lefty, 5'11", 160. And Konerko flips it into right. Guy will hold at second. It's 2 on with 1 out. 5th hit of the night for the White Sox.
During the League Championship Series, Lou Piniella and I talked about how Konerko changes his style with 2 strikes. He tries to go the other way. He did that twice against the Angels. So with 2 strikes, Paul Konerko, another fine piece of hitting. That hit was for the newly born Nicholas Konerko.
His wife Jennifer giving birth, their first child, on Wednesday. And now, Dad, Paul Konerko, is 1 for 2 in Game 1 of the World Series. About to strike it rich as a free agent during the offseason. Here is Everett, 2 on, 1 out, strike 1. Runners on at first and second, tie game, 3rd inning, 0-1 pitch. Strike 2. In fact, 3 members of the White Sox have had kids in the last month. Not only Konerko, but Joe Crede and Freddie Garcia. Nicholas, the only boy born. The other 2, little girls. 2 on, 1 out, 0-2 pitch. Good idea by Rodriguez, but he missed inside. Just tomahawking that ball up and in and hitting it foul. And we've already talked a couple of times this postseason about how close to the plate Everett stands when he's at the plate. A little closer when he's batting left-handed.
That's one of those swings where you try to hit it before it hits you.
And Everett succeeded. A walk, a single, and a good pitch by Rodriguez for out number 2. Just kept pounding Everett inside. That one down and in.
Pounding him inside, and you can see the break on our Fox tracks, the break of the curveball. That is down. Normally it's very good to go inside with the fastball and then throw the breaking ball. Good sequence by Osmus and Rodriguez.
And now Rowan trying to make something count in this inning for the White Sox. 2 on, 2 out. Strike 1. Say this, Rodriguez has come out of the bullpen in a tough spot. And he is pitching his style. He's not out there rearing back and trying to throw it as hard as he can in his first crack here in the World Series. He's made some good pitches. And he gets through a scoreless inning. So Clemens is out, Wandy Rodriguez is in. It's a tie game as we go to the 4th, Game 1 here in Chicago. Nice night, as it turns out, here in Chicago. It's cool, but not cold. Rain has stayed away. It was hailing about an hour and a half before the start of this game. And now in a 3-3 game, 4th inning, Contreras deals a strike to Lamb, who homered his first time.
How about that? A home run, your first trip up in a World Series at bat.
Bagwell will follow. Lamb was swinging for his second. It's 0-2.
Remember Andrew Jones, our first World Series together back in 1996, who homered in his first 2 World Series at bats as a 19-year-old.
Youngest ever.
Yeah. That still holds up.
0-2 the count on Lamb. Last 29 games, Mike Lamb came into this game hitting .323 with 7 home runs. Had 2 in the postseason already. Now his 3rd, tied the game at the time in the 2nd. White Sox got 2 in the bottom half. The Astros answered with 2 in the third. Good pitch by Contreras, 1 out. Second strikeout for the Chicago right-hander. This date in baseball history, October 22nd, 1975. With the Reds and Red Sox tied 3-3 in the ninth. Game 7 of the World Series. Joe Morgan knocked a clutch single up the middle for a 4-3 lead, and the Reds emerged as world champs. For more Major League Baseball information, log on to foxsports.com on MSN. Keyword Budweiser, and there is the Hall of Famer Joe Morgan. It was with the Houston Colt 45s and then part of that Big Red Machine, and working this postseason on radio with John Miller. Strike 1 on Bagwell.
I believe I remember it right. When Joe was inducted into the Hall of Fame, he gave Nellie Fox credit for his early tutoring and tutelage with the Colt 45s back in 1963, and Nellie Fox the MVP for the White Sox in '59.
But then again, you might be wrong about that. 1 ball, 1 strike.
What a player. Boy, he was good.
Oh. Here comes a 1-1 to Bagwell. 2 balls and a strike. So Bagwell makes his way back. Just rehabs the heck out of his shoulder that was operated on in May. He is activated after September 1st, but he was on the DL, so he was eligible to be part of the postseason roster. And Phil Garner wanted to see what Bagwell could do down the stretch. He won a key game for him with a pinch hit single, had a couple more hits. And for Bagwell, the Astros all-time leader in home runs, RBIs, and walks. Good base runner, a leader on this team. He gets the nod here in game 1 as the DH. The 3-1 pitch, full count. And he said he may strike out and he may not get any hits, but along the way he's going to have good at-bats against Contreras tonight. For a guy that's played as long as he has, with an opportunity to get to the World Series, he is setting the pain aside. And he shoots one in the air to left, didn't get it all, and Podsednik is there for the second out. Jeff Bagwell rushed his rehab to get back and active. Here he is.
They kind of stuck that little carrot out there for me, and they were playing real well, and we were getting close to September, and they were right in the wild card. And I said, the heck, man, let's just push this rehab and do the best I can. Maybe I could just come back and pinch hit, and who knows where that will lead. And in the back of my mind, the ultimate goal was this, is to getting here, and that's the reason why I did it.
Obtained from the Boston Red Sox in 1990 for Larry Anderson.
And when you think about trading deadline deals, I guess in recent history, depending on what you consider recent, the one that compares best to that is the Braves getting John Smoltz from the Tigers for Doyle Alexander. That's out of the reach of Konerko. And strike 1 on Jason Lane.
Yeah, I don't think the Bagwell for Larry Anderson deal was quite as big as Frank Robinson for Milt Pappas in the winter of 1965, or Lou Brock for Ernie Broglio, Chicago Cubs outfielder at the time, and of course went on to a Hall of Fame career with the St. Louis Cardinals. That was a trade that the north side of this city will never forget.
A 1-1. Lane pops it up, and that'll play for Dye. But as you said before the game, in the Houston Astros history, it's as big as they get.
That's right.
Getting Jeff Bagwell from the Red Sox. This beautiful city on a nice night. 3-3 after 3.5 in game 1. A.J. Pierzynski, who drove in a run with a ground out and scored a run in the second, leads it off against Wandy Rodriguez, and he takes low for ball 1. The only other postseason experience Wandy Rodriguez has is working in game 4 of that division series against Atlanta, the 18-inning game, where the Astros would have used Larry Dierker if they could have brought him out to pitch. So it was like, all right, Wandy, is that your, all right, go out there and pitch. And that's the game that Roger Clemens eventually won with 3 innings of 1-hit ball out of the bullpen to propel the Astros into the NLCS. Pierzynski off balance, bounces one to Lamb. One away. Jim Hickey, the pitching coach. Plenty to talk to him about. Here's our visit with the Astros pitching coach. Well, Jim Hickey, game 1 of the World Series. You go in with Roger Clemens, and 2 innings later, you don't have him. What's the update on his health?
To tell you the truth, I haven't been up there to check on him since after that inning, but his hamstring just tightened up a little bit on him. He was able to continue to go, and he was willing to continue to go, but we just thought it would be best if we ended up getting him out of there. And we've got the extra pitcher that we're carrying, so I don't think it'll have that much of an effect on us.
So now the world is looking at this left-hander, Wandy Rodriguez. We saw some good things from him in that first inning of work. What do you expect we'll see the rest of the night?
Well, certainly this is where, strange things happen, and this is where maybe a guy like this comes onto the scene. But he's been solid for us. He won 10 ball games or so throughout the course of the year, but I'd expect to see a couple of more innings of what he's done. He's thrown a pretty good fastball, mixed in a couple of good curveballs, and also a couple of nice changeups.
As a pitching coach, when you've got a rookie in this situation, how much do you just kind of not want to crowd his head with too much stuff about White Sox hitters and scouting reports and all that?
Right, absolutely. Not too much.
To Jim Hickey, a home run hit by Creedy into left center field. And right on cue as his pitching coach is talking about not wanting to crowd his head with too much. Joe Creedy will crowd his head with the sound of a home run to put the White Sox on top 4-3 in the 4th. What a postseason, Tim, Joe Creedy is having. He is making a name for himself.
Well, I should say, from Westphalia, Missouri, little agricultural community, about 15 miles from Jefferson City, Missouri, and that looked like a fastball out over the plate, and he crushed it to left center.
3rd home run of this postseason, coming off a huge ALCS. Key hits, clutch hits, and now he puts the White Sox back on top 4-3 in the 4th.
You can see that ball right around the letters, a fastball that sailed right in the middle of the plate and sailed out of this ballpark to once again give the White Sox a lead.
On 1-1, Uribe with a huge swing, strike 2. And Taveras came awfully close with a leap and just over his glove and over the wall for the White Sox lead. On 1-2, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Uribe with a 2-out RBI double in the 2nd. Full count. Now we'll see how Wandy Rodriguez responds after he gets that jolt from Joe Creedy.
That was a fastball, so normally you don't want to do the same thing to the next hitter. I would think this will be a breaking ball to Uribe. Nope.
And a walk with 1 out here in the 4th. Well, you and I were talking about the dominant pitching coming into tonight's game 1, and so far 10 hits, 7 runs, 142 total pitches. Contreras has been anything but dominating, and Clemens is already out of the game.
Further expert analysis.
Yeah. Nothing but the best for you on Fox. So Jim Hickey was visiting with us, and that's obviously the risk you run when you play an interview
right
in the middle of the inning, and it's worth hearing from him. The question that I had asked and the answer we were getting when Creedy hit the home run was about not trying to fill this kid's head with too much with scouting reports and don't do this, do try to do this. Just let him go out there and pitch. And so far, after getting through a scoreless 3rd, he's now allowed a run on the home run. He has walked Uribe and will deal with the top of the lineup. Here's Podsednik.
We saw a bunt by Willie Taveras in a similar situation, moving 2 runners along. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised because of the left-hander to see Podsednik sometime during this at-bat perhaps lay one down.
And even with 1 out, Ensberg is in at 3rd. So the Astros are thinking along the same lines. 1 on, 1 out. And the ball 1 to Bud Sednick. 14 home runs the White Sox have hit this postseason. So when you compare the two lineups, I think it's fair to say that Ozzie Guillen has more thunder in his lineup than the Astros do coming into this World Series.
Thunder spread throughout the lineup.
There's a strike from Rodriguez. 1 ball, 1 strike. So it's not just small ball for the White Sox, who as a team hit 200 home runs during the regular season. That's 4th best in the American League. One on, one out. Ball 2.
Count 2 balls and 1 strike earlier in the game. Aaron Rowan hit and run. We'll see if Ozzie Guillen. It's unusual to hit and run with a left-handed hitter against a left-handed pitcher. They don't make the contact right-handers do.
And now Uribe gets a look at the pickoff move of Wandy Rodriguez. You could fool a lot of American League pitchers with this stat. Joe Creedy is playing with 2 herniated discs in his back. Wow. The 27-year-old third baseman, who was signed originally as a shortstop, moved out to the outfield, has been on fire since coming off the DL. Up the middle, base hit. Uribe will stop at second, 2 on, 1 out. And Podsednik has his first hit of the night.
Again, a hitting situation. Looking for the fastball. He got it and drilled it right back into your living room.
If you happen to call your home center field. And with 2 on, 1 out, here's Iguchi. Tadahito is 0 for 2. You and I hadn't seen much of Iguchi prior to the ALCS, but everything we saw during that series against the Angels, you just came away more and more impressed night after night watching this player who's considered a rookie in his first year with the White Sox.
15 home runs this year. He hit for a nice average, turns the double play well.
And hits into him as well. 4-6-3. The home run by Creedy puts the White Sox back in front. His 3rd of this postseason. A crisp shot on a cool night. 4-3 Chicago. Back after this from your local station. Well, for the 3rd time, Jose Contreras has been handed a lead. It's 4-3. The White Sox out in front, and Ausmus, who singled his first time, pops it up. Jermaine Dye, 1 out. And we're underway in the 5th inning. Some of the Fox celebrities in attendance tonight. Bernie Mac from the Bernie Mac Show. Johnny Messner and Shy McBride, both from Killer Instinct. Fridays at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on Fox. And Dan Castellenta, who is the voice of Homer Simpson. Homer couldn't be here tonight, so he brought his voice. The animator off tonight.
Oh, Homer's here tonight. 3 solo shots.
Oh,
one by
there
Houston.
It is.
2 by the White Sox.
Oh, man.
Come on.
To the third baseman. Another pick by Creedy. He's not only hitting home runs, but he has played an airtight defense over at third.
You complete the play. If you're a guy like Creedy, he knows that he's not sure whether the ball, whether the ball's fair or foul. So you complete the play and let the umpire call it.
What's up, Yogi?
He knows he's not sure. Right. Good play.
With 2 out and nobody on, back to the top of the order. Biggio takes outside, ball 1. Top of the 5th, 4-3. The White Sox lead it. Two and 0.
Yogi Berra, a coach for the Houston Astros, and very close to Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell. Very close.
2 and 1.
Yogi probably watching the game tonight with his wife Carmen in Montclair, New Jersey. An American legend.
And one of the sweetest, nicest guys you would ever meet.
The best.
Here's a 2-1. Biggio jammed a bit. Creedy to his left. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Game 1. That means we're halfway through it. And the White Sox lead 4-3. The arm movements and the excitement of Ozzie Guillen, who moments ago stopped by to chat with us. Ozzie, the most relaxed we've seen you is when Jermaine Dye hit the home run into right. You've been jumping around doing hand signals all night. He hits the home run and you're sitting there in your chair. What's going on down there in the dugout?
Well, the thing is, I always, before the game starts, I always try to get my kids pumped up. And when as soon as we do something, I try to stay the cool as I can. And I'm not going to show up. They're not the manager. I don't want to be a cheerleader.
Let's talk about Jose Contreras. You guys have handed him 3 leads now. He hasn't been as dominant tonight as he has earlier in the postseason. What do you see?
Well, I see the same way. I think his forkball was too affected today. I think he's get behind the hitters a little bit, and he just hang one pitch to the ball hit to the right field. He just boys hanging. I went out to tell him, don't let this kid beat you, and he did it with the first pitch.
Are you having any fun yet?
Well, right now I love it. Before the game and after the game, it's kind of crazy. But you're in the World Series. What can be better?
Thanks, Ozzie.
All right, Venezuela.
A shout out to Venezuela. 41-year-old manager. Team out in front, and a 4-pitch walk is handed out to Jermaine Dye. He's been on base 3 times tonight. That's the 3rd walk issued by Wandy Rodriguez in 2+ innings.
There's a big difference when you walk the leadoff hitter compared to walking a guy with 1 or 2 outs. And I would think that walk would stir that Houston Astro bullpen.
Because Rodriguez has at least gotten it to the 5th inning.
Right.
There's nobody out in the 5th, but they've got Russ Springer down there who could be a guy to bridge the gap between the injured starter Clemens, Rodriguez, and then some of those late inning arms, which are lights out, to use a phrase. Not just Lidge, but Chad Qualls and Dan Wheeler out of the bullpen for Houston. They are terrific. And it's a 1-run game here in the 5th. And they do start now in the Houston bullpen. 1 on, nobody out. Canerco is 1 for 2. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jim Hickey on the phone. And Russ Springer is getting loose. Not with too much urgency. There's a pitch low and away, 2-1. If getting loose means that he's walking around, then he's getting loose. Got to be honest, I'm a little surprised he's not throwing.
Yeah, I am too.
A leadoff walk to Dye. 2 balls and a strike on Canerco, and a check on Jermaine Dye, who has a minuscule lead. Now action starts for the Astros in their bullpen. And this is how it started. He threw 1 pitch, and the bullpen catcher bounced one off the wall.
It's the World Series. He's over anxious.
3-1 on Canerco.
Now the first 8 pitches, 7 have been balls here in the 5th inning. Oh, what an enviable hitting situation for Paul Canerco. He'll look for a fastball to drill and pull.
into center field, a hit. His second of the night, 2 on, nobody out.
He got the fastball outside part of the plate. Hits it right back up the middle. Second hit of the night for Konerko. I think Jim Hickey buying time here by talking to Rodriguez. Buying time to give Springer a chance to warm up. And there are a lot of ways that Ozzie Guillen could go here. You could bunt with Everett.
Two on, nobody out. Everett is coming up tomorrow on Fox NFL Sunday. The 49ers travel to D.C. to take on the Redskins. The Packers and Vikings square off. Or 2 first-place teams collide. The Red Hot Cowboys battle Sean Alexander and the Seahawks, or other regional action. It all begins with a look at the Cowboys' turnaround on the pregame show tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Fox.
Shot at Russ Springer, who is warming in earnest for the Astros. Morgan Insberg was involved in that conversation between Osmus and Rodriguez, how they were going to pitch him so he could be set for the bunt if Everett decides to drop one down.
Shows it, drops it down to third, and the play is to first. Second and third, 1 out. And even with the DH, the White Sox showing that they are not going to get away from small ball in this World Series.
The curveball, and Insberg, you can see him breaking in. And a fine bunt. That's what a bunter tries to do. Make the third baseman feel the ball. Executed to perfection by Everett.
So the sacrifice is good. Now first base is open, and Aaron Rowand, the right-handed hitting center fielder, is at the plate. And Springer stays in the bullpen. Rowand takes a ball high. First base is open. They don't have to come to Rowand with the left-handed hitting Pierzynski next. Osmus keeps shooting a look into that dugout like, are we going to walk this guy or what?
Yeah. That's an excellent point, Joe, and sure enough, Phil Garner may have heard you. The one problem with this is that Rodriguez threw 7 of his first 8 pitches as balls to start this inning. Konerko got the hit, then the bunt by Everett. So Garner will rely on Rodriguez to get Pierzynski out, but keep in mind Rodriguez has been wild during this inning.
Well, I know he didn't hear me, but I know he saw the looks that Osmus was giving him, like, hello. First base open, lefty on deck. And obviously not that Garner needs coaxing from Osmus, but this would be the percentage call.
Sure.
And this crowd to its feet with Pierzynski walking in. Bases loaded, 1 out. Pierzynski 0 for 2 with an RBI. Ball 1. Ball 2.
See, that's the danger in that intentional walk. Now Rodriguez with 2 straight balls to Pierzynski. Ideal hitting situation for AJ.
A rocket foul into the upper deck.
I think it was fair to say that he was looking for a fastball. Inside part, yanks it foul.
2-1. The opposite way, slicing down the line, foul, and it's 2-2. You could see a subtle movement by Ausmus before the first pitch, telling Rodriguez he wanted the ball up. I think that's their overall game plan here with Pierzynski, is to deliver high pitches. Pierzynski likes the ball down. There's that move again by Ausmus.
Well, the bad thing about that is if you set up high, you're telling the hitter that a fastball's coming. Seen Ausmus set up high several times tonight. It's easy to relay position to a hitter if you're the runner at second base.
Pierzynski down to second, out, back to first, brilliantly turned by the Astros. And after all that, the White Sox come away with nothing. 3-6-1. Lamb, Everett, and Wandy Rodriguez, the rookie, there to take the throw. It's still a one-run game after 5. Well, the question now is for the White Sox, has Jose Contreras finally settled in? He's retired 7 in a row. He has a one-run lead, and he will deal with the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Taveras into left center field. That ball is down. At least 2. Taveras will stop at second with a leadoff double. Good start to the 6th for the Astros, who are down by 1.
What a turn of events in 2 swings of the bat. First by Pierzynski in the double play, and now Willie Taveras to lead off the 6th inning with a double to left center.
So I guess the answer to that question is no. Has Jose Contreras settled in? He has allowed so far 3 runs on 5 hits, and a guy who got him for a 2-out, 2-run double in his last at bat in the 3rd to tie the game digs in Lance Berkman. Inside, ball 1. Berkman over the last 2 postseasons has now driven in 22 runs and hit 6 home runs along the way. Big home run in Game 5 for the Astros of the NLCS. That grand slam in Game 4 of the division series against Atlanta. He advances Taveras to third. Good play by Konerko. Squared it up, got his body in front of it, 1 out.
And if you're the Chicago White Sox, you love this. Berkman pulling the ball, advancing Taveras, but the White Sox got the out. And against a guy like Lance Berkman, that's more important.
The wrist and the gut of Konerko made the stop on that. And now the tying run at third with 1 out for Ensberg, who has 9 RBIs this postseason after driving home 101 during the regular season. Morgan last year hit 10 home runs. This year, he was an all-star. He hit 36. Infield is in. Ball 1. It really points out the job that Gary Gaetti has done as the hitting coach for Phil Garner. Garner took over. The team took off last year after the All-Star break. Garner's done an amazing job as the manager, and Gaetti last year dealing with veterans, this year dealing with a lot of young players, as Houston in the World Series. The 1-0 pitch. Hard hit. Nice play by Creedy. He has done everything. 2 out.
He hardly has to move. No way can Taveras move. Nice play by Joe Creedy.
That ball was blistered. And Creedy gets the 2nd out. Now Mike Lamb with the tying run at third, 2 out. tied up on a pitch down and in, ball one. Lamb has homered and struck out. There's another example of what Gaetti has done as the hitting coach. You see guys all over the place like Chris Burke, Tavares, the work he's done with Berkman, Jason Lane. Good pitch. Pulled the string, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Houston trying to cash in on a leadoff double. Blocked by Pierzynski to save the tying run. 2-1. Springer, and now Qualls joins him in the Houston bullpen. Contreras trying to keep the lead through the top of the 6th. Hard hit right out of Gucci. Leadoff double wasted by the Astros. And Creedy, part of that great White Sox defense. 4-3 Chicago after 5.5. Wandy Rodriguez is back to work. Even with Qualls ready to go and Springer has been warming up for a while, Creedy took Rodriguez out of the park in the 4th. And Phil Garner's going to stay with him. Change up and a pop foul out of play. And Joe Creedy, the man at the plate, is the difference of late in this game. In the 4th inning, put the White Sox out in front with a home run and then made the diving stop on a hard hit ball by Ensberg in the top of this 6th. So he gets to face Rodriguez again. And he hits a ton down the left field line. It is foul. And you have to wonder, with the right-handers ready to go, why Rodriguez is still in the ball game for Houston.
I think, Joe, whether it's right or wrong, we'll see. But I think the reason was the double play that got Rodriguez out of the inning. That 3-6-1 double play. Trying to extend him through the 6th.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Qualls, who has been so good for the Astros in this postseason, is ready to go if and when he's needed. Creedy pops it up right side and it'll play. Biggio is over from his second base spot for out number 1. Our Nissan game summary as we play here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Clemens only lasted 2 left with a bad left hamstring. Contreras is through 6. Creedy, Jermaine Dye have each homered for the White Sox. Home run coming for Houston from Mike Lamb. The White Sox offense 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They've left 6 on so far tonight.
A lot of times when a hitter has a backswing, he will alert the catcher and the home plate umpire. I believe Creedy hit home plate umpire Joe West in the mask. It's very unusual to hit the home plate umpire. Normally you'll hit the catcher, but watch this.
Ooh.
Just knocks the mask right off of Joe West's face, and fortunately for Joe, it did not hit that soft hat area. Joe appears to be all right.
2-0 the count on Uribe, and now a strike from Rodriguez. Wandy Rodriguez could reward the faith that Phil Garner has shown in him by getting through this 6th inning and keeping it a 1-run game. 2-2 on Uribe. Wonder how serious the hamstring injury is for Clemens, and if the next time around it's Wandy Rodriguez making the start.
Yeah.
Instead of the Rocket. That's how to play off to the right. Still 2-2. Already 66 pitches thrown in 3 1/3 innings for Rodriguez, and some of that, the 4 walks he's issued. 2-2 pitch. Uribe wouldn't chase it. Full count.
Close to going around, but he appeared to hold up. Andy Pettitte, tomorrow night's starter.
Another walk handed out by Rodriguez, and we'll see if that's it for this rookie left-hander. That's 5 walks, and that was as deep into this 6th inning, down by 1 run, as Phil Garner wanted to go. So Qualls is coming in, Rodriguez is coming out, even with the left-handed Podsednik coming up. How valuable has the combination of Chad Qualls and Dan Wheeler been getting to Brad Lidge, who's about as good as it gets stuff-wise as a closer across baseball? A check on Uribe. One reason why, even with the left-hander Tim coming up and Podsednik, Rodriguez, the lefty, is taken out, is Qualls, who features a splitter, held left-handed batters to a .218 average. So very good against left-handed swingers, and Podsednik takes low for ball 1. A 1-out walk. That was the end of the night for Rodriguez. 3 1/3, 1 run, 4 hits, 5 walks, 1 strikeout. Two 2-0.
2 sinkers to try to induce the ground ball from Podsednik. Even though he's not a double play candidate, he's too fast. Talk to the hitters about Qualls, and as much as any middle reliever in the major leagues, they say he is nasty. That's a word you don't usually hear about middle relievers.
There's a ground ball. Biggio, Everett in the middle, and no chance with not only Podsednik running, but Biggio couldn't get it out of his glove cleanly. 2 out. Tomorrow night is game 2 of this World Series. And we will be on the air at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, live from U.S. Cellular Field. Andy Pettitte, Mark Burley, 2 good left-handers. Andy Pettitte will be making yet another postseason start. He's made 33. He has 14 postseason wins. He made his first pitching well for Joe Torre back in 1996 against Atlanta. Now we'll do it for the Houston Astros. Ball 1 to Iguchi.
And the only reason Scott Podsednik didn't run on the first pitch, he wanted to see Qualls' delivery home. It was a slider that missed, and a more obvious running situation right here.
Ozzie Guillen's been somewhat disappointed with Podsednik stealing second, and now as this one trickles away, no chance to get Scott, and he's at second with 2 out with his 5th steal of the postseason.
Sometimes from a catching standpoint, there is nothing you can do but try to get the strike, throw him out. No way can you pitch out when you're behind in the count. There are 2 outs, you just go after the hitter.
Earlier in the postseason, Guillen said for some reason Podsednik's having a much easier time stealing third than he is second. Kind of lost his stride down the stretch, but he picked it up the middle part of that series against the Angels.
Scott telling us yesterday he likes to double up too. If he steals second, he'll steal third, but with 2 outs, it's unlikely.
2-1 on Iguchi. Petahito, 71 RBIs during the regular season, 4 out of the number 2 spot in the postseason. Tonight 0 for 3. Here's a 2-1. Good pitch. 2-2.
Backup slider. That thing designed to be on the outside part. You could see Osmus setting up outside. It stayed inside. One of the more deceptive pitches in baseball. A hitter thinks it's going to be one spot, and it's another.
Qualls comes in and does his job. Gets the strikeout after getting the ground out from Podsednik. Off we go to the 7th. Good game. 1-run White Sox lead. Game 1 of the World Series. Back after this from your local station. Jose Contreras back to the hill, 7th inning, 4-3. The White Sox lead Game 1, and the 37-year-old Jeff Bagwell takes a strike over the inside corner. It'll be Bagwell, Lane, and Osmus. If anybody gets on, Adam Everett for the Astros. And Bagwell just let it hit him.
Pierzynski immediately going out in front of home plate and telling Contreras to stay on top. Sometimes pitchers get very comfortable when they drop down. And for the second time in this game, Jeff Bagwell is hit. Well, I'll tell you.
Crafty.
Ozzie Guillen not questioning the fact that Bagwell didn't try to get out of the way of the ball, but crafty is the word.
Crafty on the part of Bagwell.
Absolutely.
He just stood there, moved his legs a little bit, but in the end threw that right leg in the way of the baseball, and there's the tying run with nobody out. In the 7th as Lane pops it up behind first. Tough play, and Canerco staggers but makes it. After his last at-bat, Bagwell caught the attention of Brandon Backey and Charles Gibson on the bench. They had this to say about the veteran DH.
How many people you know stride up and back and then hit?
You know you're a good hitter when you make up your own stance and just do.
You got kids across the nation doing the same thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit like Jeff Bagwell. No, you're not, son. You better learn the basics first.
We've talked about it in postseasons past. Bagwell, who almost looks like he's sitting down when he's at the plate waiting for a pitch, was hit by a pitch to start this inning. He's on, 1 out, and here's Osmus. And he is grazed by the pitch. 2 on with 1 out on 2 hit batsmen. And neither one would leave a bruise.
I would think that more than anything would cause stirring in the White Sox bullpen. Osmus getting out of the way of it. And remember, Pierzynski going out and saying, stay on top. He has not been on top of the ball this inning. And what happens when you drop down, the ball tails into right-handers, and that's what it's done.
And it has also put that White Sox bullpen into action. So 2 on with 1 out, and here's a chance for the Astros. Adam Everett at the plate, and a pop foul back here. Let's go down to Chris Myers.
Joe, Tim, the temperature has dropped here. It's gotten a lot cooler in between the last few innings. Jose Contreras has slipped into the locker room as if to keep warm. He's been stretching and motioning as if to say he's stiffening up a little bit to his teammates. His shoulder and back is the area that he was motioning to, so we'll keep an eye on that.
2 on, 1 out, 0-1 pitch. Ground ball to short. Uribe. Higuchi. Safe, and the inning continues. It's a force-out 6-4, first and third, 2 out.
Adam Everett got out of the box in a hurry because the pitch was away. When a right-handed hitter does that, he gets a good jump out of the box, and that was the difference between safe and out.
And Everett was safe. So now you've got a very productive, dangerous RBI man who hits in the leadoff spot for Houston. A chance for Biggio. His first World Series game, and he grounds to third. Creedy again on a dive to end the inning. Creedy has made 3 good plays over at third and homered back in the fourth to put the White Sox up by a run. They still lead at 4-3, and it's time to stretch.